You ever wonder where some of these casino games come from? I mean, we walk into these grand casinos, see the bright lights, hear the sounds of coins clinking, and we just dive into the games. But have you ever stopped to think about the origins of these games? How did they come to be? Who invented them? And why do we play them the way we do today? Craps, that game with the dice and the yelling has a history that goes way back. We're talking centuries, folks. It's not just a game of chance, it's a game with a rich and fascinating history. A history that spans continents and cultures, evolving over time to become the game we know and love today. It all started with a game called Hazard. Hazard was a game of dice that was played in Europe, and it was incredibly popular. It was a game of high stakes and high tension, where fortunes could be won or lost on the roll of a dice. Hazard was popular in the Middle Ages. It was a game that brought people together, from the nobility to the common folk. Everyone loved the thrill of the game, the excitement of the roll, and the chance to win big. Guys would play it in the streets. It was a common sight to see groups of men huddled together, rolling dice on the cobblestone streets, betting their hard-earned money on the outcome. They used pig knuckles as dice at first. Yes, you heard that right. Before the invention of the modern dice, people used knuckle bones from pigs. It was a crude but effective way to play the game. Can you imagine that? Talk about a tough cleanup. Just think about the mess and the smell. But hey, they were dedicated to their game. Eventually, they switched to the six-sided dice we know today. This made the game more standardized and easier to play. The six-sided dice became the norm, and the game of Hazard continued to evolve. The game made its way to Europe and became a hit. It spread like wildfire, with people from all walks of life getting in on the action. It was a game that transcended social classes and brought people together. Even royalty got in on the action. Kings and queens, dukes and duchesses, they all loved the thrill of the game. It was a favorite pastime in the royal courts where the stakes were high and the excitement was palpable. Then, in the 1800s, craps sailed across the ocean to America. It was brought over by European immigrants who introduced the game to the New World. It quickly gained popularity in the bustling cities and towns of America. A guy named Bernard Xavier Philippe de Marigny de Mandeville introduced it to New Orleans. He was a French nobleman who loved the game and wanted to share it with the people of his new home. He must have had a tough time fitting his name on his luggage. But despite the challenges, he succeeded in making the game popular in New Orleans. De Marigny's version of the game had simpler rules. He made the game more accessible to everyone, simplifying the complex rules of Hazard and creating a game that was easy to learn and fun to play. This made it a hit with everyone. People from all walks of life could enjoy the game, from the wealthy elite to the working class. It was a game that brought people together and created a sense of community. And guess what? That simplified version is what we know as craps today. It's a game that has stood the test of time, evolving and adapting to the changing world, but always retaining its core essence of excitement and chance. So next time you roll the dice, remember the rich history behind the game of craps. Craps started as a street game. In the early days, it was a simple pastime played on sidewalks and in back alleys. People would gather around, rolling dice on makeshift surfaces, betting whatever they had in their pockets. It was a game of chance, excitement, and sometimes a bit of mischief. The simplicity of the game made it accessible to everyone, from the working class to the wealthy, and it quickly gained popularity. But it didn't take long for it to find a home in casinos. As gambling establishments began to emerge, they saw the potential of craps to draw in crowds. The game was easy to understand, yet thrilling enough to keep players engaged for hours. Casinos started to incorporate craps tables into their gaming floors, and the game began to evolve. The first casinos were popping up all over the place. Las Vegas, in particular, became a hotspot for gambling enthusiasts. The bright lights, the allure of winning big, and the excitement of the craps tables drew people from all walks of life. The city quickly earned its reputation as the gambling capital of the world, and craps with its fast action and big bets was a perfect fit. The game offered a unique blend of strategy and luck, making it appealing to both seasoned gamblers and newcomers. The energy around the craps table was infectious, with players cheering and groaning with each roll of the dice. But there was a problem: cheaters. As with any popular game, there were always those looking to exploit the system. Some players tried to manipulate the dice, while others attempted to place bets after the outcome was already known. This posed a significant challenge for casinos, as it threatened the integrity of the game. Some folks tried to pull a fast one with loaded dice. These dice were weighted to land on certain numbers, giving cheaters an unfair advantage. It was a constant cat-and-mouse game between the cheaters and the casino staff, who were always on the lookout for suspicious behavior. Others would try to sneak bets in after the dice were rolled. This tactic, known as past posting, involved placing a bet after the outcome was already determined, hoping the dealer wouldn't notice. It required quick hands and even quicker thinking, but it was a risky move that could lead to serious consequences if caught. Casinos needed a way to keep things fair. They couldn't afford to let cheaters ruin the experience for everyone else, so they began to implement stricter security measures, including surveillance cameras and more vigilant dealers. But they needed something more to ensure the integrity of the game, so they brought in the craps table. This wasn't just any table, it was a specially designed piece of equipment that would revolutionize the game. The table was built to make cheating nearly impossible, with features that would deter even the most determined cheaters. That big green monster with the high walls wasn't just for looks. The walls were designed to keep the dice on the table, preventing any sleight of hand tricks. The layout of the table was also carefully planned to make it easy for dealers to monitor the game and spot any suspicious activity. It was designed to make cheating almost impossible. The high walls and specific layout ensured that the dice would stay in play, and any attempts to manipulate the game would be easily noticed by the dealers and security staff. The walls kept the dice on the table. This simple yet effective design feature made it much harder for cheaters to tamper with the game. The dice had to hit the walls before coming to a stop, ensuring a fair roll every time. And the layout of the table made it easy for the dealers to spot any funny business. With a clear view of the entire table, dealers could quickly identify any irregularities and take action to maintain the integrity of the game. With cheating under control, craps exploded in popularity. Players could now enjoy the game without worrying about unfair practices. The excitement and energy around the craps table became a major draw for casinos, attracting even more players. It became one of the most popular games in Vegas and casinos around the world. The combination of fast-paced action, strategic betting, and the thrill of the dice roll made craps a favorite among gamblers. And that brings us to today, where craps is still a casino staple. Despite the many changes and advancements in the gambling industry, the core of the game remains the same. It's a testament to the enduring appeal of craps that it continues to be a favorite among players, both old and new. Alright, let's get down to business. Today we're diving into the exciting world of craps, a game that might seem intimidating at first but is actually quite straightforward once you get the hang of it. Traditional craps can seem confusing at first. With all the different bets, the fast pace, and the unique terminology, it's easy to feel overwhelmed. But don't worry, it's not as complicated as it looks. Once you understand the basic rules and flow of the game, you'll be able to join in the fun and excitement. Here's the basic idea. You're betting on the outcome of a roll of 2 dice. The game revolves around predicting what numbers will appear on the dice after they are rolled. The first roll is called the come-out roll. This initial roll sets the stage for the rest of the game. There are a few ways to win or lose right away, and understanding these outcomes is key to grasping the game. Roll a 7 or 11, you win. This is one of the most exciting moments in craps, as it results in an immediate win for the shooter. This is called a natural. It's a great way to start the game and can really get the energy at the table going. Roll a 2, 3, or 12, you lose. This is known as crapping out, and it means the round is over for the shooter. While it can be disappointing, it's all part of the game and adds to the suspense. Roll any other number. That number becomes the point. The game then shifts to a new phase where the objective changes slightly. If you roll a point, you keep rolling the dice until one of 2 things happens. Either you roll the point number again, or you roll a 7. You roll the point again, you win. This is a thrilling moment as it means the shooter has successfully made their point. You roll a 7, you lose. This ends the round, and the dice are passed to the next shooter. Now, there are a ton of different bets you can make in craps. Each bet has its own odds and payouts, adding layers of strategy to the game. You can bet on the pass line, the don't pass line, individual numbers, and more. Each option offers a different way to engage with the game and potentially win. But the basic rules are always the same. Roll the dice and see what happens. With a bit of practice and understanding, you'll be able to enjoy the fast-paced and thrilling world of craps. Traditional craps is a classic, but in the world of casinos, there's always something new to try. Enter bubble craps. It's a variation on the original game with a fun twist. It's all about adding excitement and a bit of chaos to the game. Don't worry, you don't need to relearn everything you know about craps to play bubble craps. The basic rules are the same as traditional craps. You're still betting on the outcome of a dice roll. You're still aiming for a 7 or 11 on the come-out roll. And you still need to hit your point before rolling a 7. The main difference is the way the dice are rolled. Instead of physically rolling them across a table, you're relying on the bubble dome and the elevator to do the work for you. This makes bubble craps a great choice for beginners. You don't have to worry about hitting the back wall or throwing the dice off the table. Plus, there's no pressure of other players watching your every roll. You can take your time, place your bets, and watch the bubbles work their magic. So, which is better, traditional craps or bubble craps? Well, that's like asking if chocolate or vanilla is better. It all comes down to personal preference. Traditional craps pros, you get the full craps experience, complete with the camaraderie of other players and the thrill of rolling the dice yourself. Cons, it can be intimidating for beginners. There are a lot of rules to learn, and the fast-paced action can be overwhelming. Bubble craps pros, it's easier to learn and play. The bubble dome adds an element of fun and unpredictability. It's a more relaxed and less intimidating atmosphere. Cons, some players might miss the traditional craps experience. You don't get to physically roll the dice, which takes away some of the control and excitement. Ultimately, the best way to decide which version you prefer is to try them both. Look, everyone's different. We all have our own tastes. Craps is no different. Here's the deal. If you love being in the middle of the action, high-fiving strangers and feeling the energy of the casino floor, traditional craps is your game. If you like to study the odds, strategize your bets, and enjoy a bit of superstition, traditional craps has a lot to offer. If you're new to craps and want a fun, easy-to-learn version, bubble craps is a great place to start. If you prefer a more laid-back atmosphere where you can take your time and enjoy the game at your own pace, bubble craps is a solid choice. Remember, it's all about having fun. Don't be afraid to try both versions and see which one suits your style. There you have it, folks. Craps, whether it's the traditional table or the bubbly new version, is a game of chance, skill, and a whole lot of fun. Don't be intimidated by the rules or the other players. Jump in, give it a shot, and see if you can walk away a winner. Worst case scenario, you'll have a good story to tell. And who knows, you might just find your new favorite casino game. Now get out there and roll some dice.